There are 3 layers of protection that you need to give yourself before chaos comes, and you don't have much time left. In this short video, I'm going to teach you exactly what those layers are and how you can set them up quickly so you and your family don't have to be a victim of what's coming. Hi, my name is Tay Nix. Over 25 years ago, I set out on an adventure to discover freedom in an increasingly unfree world. I'm delighted to tell you that I found what I was looking for. If you like travel and you enjoy freedom and you like the topic of internationalization, then hit the subscribe button and you'll be alerted every time there's a new video. Internationalizing your life and your wealth is the single smartest thing you can do right now to protect yourself from the chaos that's just over the horizon. International diversification is freedom insurance. It means that no single government can actually crush you and destroy your life beyond repair. And it's so easy to do these days. If you want my help, there's a link below this video. So what are the 3 layers of protection you need to give yourself, and how can you do it quickly? Before we dive in, I also want to tell you about the single biggest risk that's out there right now, today, stalking you, your family, and your wealth. This is not a risk that many people, especially in North America, have had to deal with. So I think of citizens in the US and Canada almost like animals on an island in the Galapagos, completely defenseless against the predatory invasive species. That's actually a fairly accurate picture of what's taking place. Stick around to the end and I'll tell you what this risk is. The first layer of protection you need is protection from the banking system itself. That means putting some of your money outside your home country's banking system. Now, I'll deal with the US first, but Canada's an obvious one because of what happened during the trucker convoy. So let me deal with the US banking system first. If you look at these charts, what you see, first of all, these charts tell you just about everything you need to know. The creation of fiat currency units has gone vertical. Once a country enters this kind of money printing spiral, it's very, very hard to get out. Now, it's possible that things could reverse, but in order for that to happen, obviously the people running the government, the legislature, the Congress, the Senate, the president, all the various bickering factions within our government would have to set aside their differences, shake hands, and agree to do what's best so that the system itself doesn't implode, impoverishing us all. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not betting on that outcome. The good news is, when you internationalize your wealth, you don't need to worry quite so much about what's happening. But if all of your wealth is trapped, say in the US banking system, you're going to pay the price for what's coming. So layer 1 is get some of your money outside the US banking system. Most people didn't really notice, but the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th largest banking failures in US banking history all occurred in 2023, starting with Silicon Valley Bank. And here's another piece that's even more disturbing. You see this chart? Technically, the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States, which is neither federal nor has any reserves, and is therefore the root of all deception and all the nonsense that you see playing out around you, the backer of the world's reserve currency is technically insolvent. No other country, no other business, no other for-profit venture anywhere in the world has the option to do business losing this much money. Technically, the Fed can't run out of money because they'll just create more. But what does that do to your savings? What does that do to the money that's already in circulation? Nothing good. The other thing about banking in the US and Canada is confiscation. The prime example of this was ushered in when Justin Castro Trudeau actually confiscated money from people who donated to a 100% peaceful trucking protest. Now, this is very good for a consultancy like mine, helping people diversify internationally. It was the single biggest wake-up call that anybody could have received. The government has no compunction about breaking the law. Nobody did anything against the law by donating, but they had their bank accounts and their life savings frozen. Gee, how does democracy look now? And so, understanding all of that, and understanding that just by moving your money outside your home country, you negate the 2 biggest risks, which is banking failures and confiscation. So the risks in the US banking system are real. The other piece to this is that it helps to understand how bond math works. Banks that bought US Treasury bonds, which are supposed to be the safest asset in creation, got those bonds a lot of times between 1 and 2%. When interest rates go up, the value of the bond goes down. This is very, very simple, but most people don't understand it. So a bond with a 1% coupon loses 30 to 40% or more of its face value when interest rates went to 5%. This is catastrophic for the banking system, and it's why you don't want all your money in the US banks right now. If banks had to market all of their bonds and all of their losses, they would be out over $500 billion as of today. That's a staggering loss, and the only way it can be made up is by printing more money. So you need to understand the basic math of the problem. It is unsolvable by any other solution except more inflation. Getting some of your money outside your home country's banking system is internationalization 101. This is the most basic thing. This is day one stuff. That's why I'm telling you about it. And there are good places to put your money. Banks outside the US will be much less affected by a banking crisis inside the US. In fact, your deposits are much safer in banks outside the US. So take a piece of your wealth and move it outside US banks. Layer number 2. The second layer of protection has to do with the banking system entire. It's not inconceivable that you could see a worldwide banking crisis. So the second layer is just get money out of the banking system entirely. The traditional ways to do this are real estate, gold, art, collectibles, things that will hold value, things that have a proven history of holding tremendous value over time. Those are all still viable. The two best assets today for getting money out of the banking system, of course, are gold and Bitcoin. Now, regardless of what you think of Bitcoin, what I find about Bitcoin is that most older folks just don't understand it. It is a fantastic technological development. It's a great thing that has happened, but it's shrouded in a lot of mystery. We don't know who created it. To me, the jury's still out on Bitcoin. I think it's smart to know about it. I think it's smart to understand it. It's being embraced by the mainstream, but is that actually a good thing? I don't know, and I'm not encouraging you one way or the other, but there are plenty of people who think that it's going to be a very, very useful store of value, especially when things go to hell. It is technically the hardest currency ever created. By hardness, what I mean is it cannot be inflated. It's written into the code that you can't inflate it. So far, it has been resistant to any attempts to change it. That's a very good sign. The other piece, of course, is gold. Why gold still matters in an era of so much technological advance is very simple. Central banks like it. And central banks are buying gold at the fastest pace in history. So that tells you something about how the governments of the world see this situation playing out. And of course, everybody will trust gold. The fact that central banks will buy and that they're totally price insensitive, meaning that they don't care if the price of gold goes to 3,000, they're going to continue buying. Because what they're looking to do is to shore up confidence when the whole game comes apart, and it's likely to happen in our lifetimes that you see a real tremendous reset of the financial system. People will be looking for something they can anchor their currencies to. This is why China and Russia and all of these countries understand that they need enough gold in order to back their currency, to give confidence in the currency. As I'm recording this, you see people moving out of US paper into gold. US money printing has destroyed confidence in the currency and is continuing to destroy it. I don't see that situation resolving itself either. So it's important to understand why gold still matters. The very fact that wealthy elite people and governments that have all the guns and weaponry to enforce their will and their views on other people, it's very important to understand that they're buying hand over fist. Level 3 of your protection is really the nuclear option. Here I'm referring to foreign asset trusts. When you form a foreign asset trust, you do two important things. The first is that you get your money off your balance sheet. Your assets are no longer technically owned by you. They're owned by the trust. You get to be the beneficiary of the trust. Nobody else has the ability to do anything to your money. And the trustees are under a fiduciary obligation to act in your favor, on your behalf, right, in your interests. So that's important. But the second thing is you get your assets out of Dodge. When you get your assets off your balance sheet and also out of the reach of your home government, you've done something really tremendous. Because your home government, now I said at the end of this video, I was going to tell you the biggest single risk that you face today is like a predator onto a deserted island where we have no defense against it. Most of the people I see in North America still operate on the very naive kind of belief system that says the people running the institutions have our best interests at heart, and they are responsible, and there are consequences if they don't abide by and try to adhere to something like helping the commonwealth, the common good. This, of course, is total nonsense. And if you need to be slapped awake any harder, I don't know how much more evidence you would need that that's not true. But obviously, the 2020s have shown us that the elites that run the government, the elites that are running the institutions, the folks with state power behind them, have no loyalty to your well-being or mine. And this is a very, very important point not to forget. The biggest risk you face right now is political. It's political risk inside your home country. You understand that, then you understand the need to move your money out of your home country's banks, whether that's the US or Canada, then moving your money outside the banking system entirely into assets that can be held in a private vault in the case of gold, or that you can hold on a memory stick or just by memorizing 12 words in the case of Bitcoin. Not a bad option. Certainly for moving money, Bitcoin is a super innovation. It allows you to move millions of dollars across borders and nobody has to know about it. And then the third big daddy of them all is foreign asset trusts. A foreign asset trust takes your money off your balance sheet and helps reduce your risk even further by moving your money outside the jurisdiction of your home government. A foreign government where your foreign trust is housed is under no obligation to enforce any kind of legal judgment or charging order from any judge inside your home country. So whether a creditor comes after you, or whether even the very deep-pocketed US government agencies like the IRS or even worse, right, decided to come after you for some reason, they would have a very hard time breaking the trust in your foreign country, because that foreign country and the trust company themselves are aligned with your interests. They do not want to see their business go away overnight because they decided to enforce a judgment against one of their customers, which would effectively be the end of their business. And so if you understand foreign asset trusts and you understand the value of getting your money outside the banking system right now, and you recognize the dangers within the banking system in both the US and Canada, this is going to protect your wealth through just about any potential scenario that you could imagine for the coming years. If you want my help setting up any of these things, that's what we do here. You can contact me at the link below. We even do free 15-minute consultations. I'm happy to talk to you about your situation. Click that link and find a time that works for you. And if you want to join a community of freedom-minded, independent thinkers who are about as far from being victims as it's possible to get, I created a private group with some of my network that I call the X-Plan community. The X in the equation is you. This is about your unique situation. This is about you and your family making it through the chaos that's coming in style. If you want to know more about that, there's a link below this video. Get all the details and join us at the X-Plan community. We meet every 2 weeks to discuss options, new developments, contingency plans, and investment opportunities. And sometimes we get together in various beautiful parts of the world like the one I'm in now. If you're interested, you can click the link below this video to get all the details and to join us. In the next video, I'm going to come back and talk to you about my favorite place to get residency, a place that everybody in North America right now should be hurrying to complete. The paperwork is easy. It only takes a couple of days. A colleague of mine revealed a very special shortcut that I'll be sharing with you. You can check that video out right up here. That's enough out of me. I'll be back with more great stuff.